Yeah, Kucini Tales is gonna be a series of stories around cooking food and how foods got creolized in India. Some of the food like vinegar and Worcestershire sauce and kusid, buffad, all this food that we think it's part of our culinary tradition, but which is not, because it got creolized with the encounter of different civilization, other civilization who came to India. Mainly we're talking about Portuguese, Armenians, French, Dutch.
Kucini, the word sounds like kitchen, and indeed it comes from the Portuguese word cozinha, which means kitchen. They're all etymologically related. They all go back some way or the other to Latin. But the point is that Ari uses Kucini as it's used in Pondicherry Tamil. Some point in history, the Portuguese brought this word with them to India. They didn't bring just their food ways, which then changed on encountering Indian food ways. They also brought words which got absorbed into Indian lexicons. So you've got Kucini, a Tamil word, which comes from a European source to talk about a Tamil kitchen. Now what's fascinating about Kucini is if you go to Konkani, which is the language of Goa, the same word exists there, Kucini. You see, because it also comes from the Portuguese. So you wouldn't think that Konkani and Tamil are related, but they are, not just because they've got some Sanskrit words in common, they've got Portuguese words in common. The first one, as we know, Indian food distinguishes itself by being spicy. You know, we have condiments, we have spices, we have things that we add to the food to give it taste and to kind of like enhance and change the basic flavor of its ingredients. So we've got the very first episode is going to be about Creole condiments. So what was added to food to give it a special flavor, but often while the idea of adding something to make something spicy is Indian, what is added may not be so. The next episode, so then what happens? What happens? What's the next stage in creolization? Dishes start getting invented which have names. But what we discovered in our research, and this is what's interesting, Ari, what are those dishes in Pondicherry that have names that are similar to the Goan dishes, you know?
Yeah, buffad, fugad, kusid.
It's kind of like a what's in a name sort of episode. So we're going to have an episode about stuffing, you know, the heart of the matter. Again, we discovered something very interesting. This came totally out of a Tinai Adda. I started talking about the very extremely common Bengali dish, which is potole dolma. And for those who are not Bengali, you know, just to say this, we have this gourd, bottle gourd. It's called parval, it's called potol in Bengali, parval in Hindi, and various other names in other parts of India. It's very common. Well, the good thing about these things are they're quite solid. So if you make a hole in them, it becomes like a casing. And potole dolma is that it's stuffed with different things. You can stuff it with minced fish or minced meat, like keema, or you can have vegetarian potole dolma with chana, you know, with cottage cheese, etc. But then you make a curry out of it. First, many years ago, when I first came to England and I made Turkish friends, and I realized that they eat dolmas too, and I was quite surprised because I'm like, this is a Bengali word? No, I realized it's a Turkish word. In fact, it's an Ottoman word. Turkish is just the modern day equivalent of the Ottoman Empire, which is like the Mughal Empire. It was vast. Many peoples were living under its sway, and they all kind of had a similar kind of food habit. And dolma was a very common thing, but if you even go to a Greek restaurant today, you'll find the dolma, it's stuffed vine leaves, okay? In India, obviously, we didn't use vine leaves, so it struck me somewhere down the line that the potole dolma was a kind of Indian version of a Turkic dolma. And Armenians were part of the Ottoman Empire too. In fact, they were kind of persecuted within the Ottoman Empire, and that's why they came as merchants to India. And the potole dolma obviously is a result of that.
So the same thing, we do that in Pondicherry. So stuffing with minced meat. And again, the same dish is also made in Réunion Island with the same snake gourd.
We have another episode which is going to be on steaming, because the other thing, as we go more and more into this complex layers of the cuisine, of the Creole kitchen, it's not just about putting one ingredient here and one ingredient there. It's also about techniques of cooking. So the one big difference between European and Indian cooking styles, I would say, is that the European food very often goes into an oven, whereas we put things on top of a stove. Simple. So a kind of via media, I think, was found in the act of steaming. Because when you put something in a container and you put it in a basin of water and you steam it, you can get something which looks a bit like a cake, even though you haven't put it in an oven. So steaming for us I think it's going to be, it's quite an interesting technique that lends itself to creolization for both savory things and sweet things.
But for these Kucini Tales, I'm going to tell you the story of Jean Foutre Katumotar with Vatalakunda Rani. So Jean Foutre Katumotar is the son of a French merchant who has come to India to work, to do business. And Jean Foutre Katumotar, is supposed to take over his father's business. Mm-hmm. But again, since he's so interested in the exotic India, so he wants to discover India through spirituality and mysticism. Mm-hmm. So he's not very inclined to business. It's a nomad who doesn't have any goal in life. He just roaming around. And he meets Vatalakunda Rani, who is a very interesting character because we don't know exactly what she is. Is she French or is she European? Is she Indian? Where is she from? Nobody knows. So Vatalakunda Rani claims to be the Rani of Vatalakundu, and nobody knows where Vatalakundu is. Even she doesn't know where Vatalakundu is. She just goes around and claiming that she's the Vatalakunda Rani, and she goes chased from a kingdom and she's trying to recover her kingdom. So these two people meet and go around India, but the only thing they have in common is the love for the food. And love for the food, and also how to all the time, that's kind of obsession for them, how to change the food they are eating. So this is what they're gonna do: travel around India and discover food and creolize them. Jean Foutre Katumotar and Vatalakunda Rani won't remain all the time the same people. They keep on changing. They are taking avatars every time. You see, and every time they're gonna meet, every city they're gonna meet, is as they're meeting for the first time.